Well, hello, and welcome to Opal City Confidential, a Starman podcast, episode 65, Infernal Devices, part 4, where we're going to talk about Starman Volume 2, Issue 32, and All-American Comics 61, the first appearance of Solomon Grundy. What I'm doing with this episode is Infernal Devices is more about Solomon Grundy and less about the Black Pirate, so if you listen to the Opal City Media episode that dropped on Saturday, you heard me talk about the Douglas Fairbanks Sr. Black Pirate. So we're going to transition with the final part of Infernal Devices. We are going to segue into the history of Solomon Grundy, specifically his first appearance in All-American Comics 61, which I think that's the first time I read it, and oh my God, I can't wait to talk about it. But first, let's talk about Jack's adventure and what's going on with him. So, Starman 33 was on sale June 4th, 1997, cover date August 1997, cover price $2.25, a 32-page comic, editor, the amazing G.O.A.T. Archie Goodwin. The title of the story is With Some Help from His Friends. It's a 22-pager. It stars Jack Knight. It is written by James Robinson, penciled by Tony Harris and Mark Buckingham. Ooh, is it some good art? Wade Pond Badger is our inker. Bill Oakley is our letterer. Gregory A. Wright is the colorist. It has been reprinted 3 times in Starman Infernal Devices Tradeback 2000, Starman Omnibus Volume 3 hardcover 2009, and Starman Compendium Trade Paperback 1 2021, which is where I read it. And on my pad. My buddy gave me a refurbished pad so I can read the comics, and it's so much nicer. So let's go to the synopsis that is in the fandom, because there isn't one in Mike's Amazing World. And these are short, too. So, to save Solomon Grundy's life, the Floronic Man, Sentinal, Alan Scott Green Lantern, Batman, and Starman must eat a strange tuber fruit in order to take a metaphysical journey, a fantastic voyage, I'm not inserting that note, that is in the fandom wiki, into the mind of Grundy. While there, they only encounter Grundy, but an army of them ready to confront the four. So that's the first page or two and the last page or two. So, but in the middle is a lot of joy. It's a really good comic. It is doing all the things that I love, and I go on and on and on about. Let's start with the cover. It is Batman and Jack, and it says Internal Devices Part 4 Starman. It's a nice blue and yellow. I like that in blue and yellow. But it's Jack and Batman instead of an Art Deco design that has a star and a bat. It's beautiful Tony Harris stuff. I like his take on Batman. And when we get to a certain page, I'm going to make a comment, and you all can just scream at me like I'm an idiot or agree with me. I prefer the latter. Okay, so it's a great cover, and we cut to the splash page, which has some narration, which I feel like I want to read. It's going to take you into it. And this is after the building exploded at the end of the last. Pip sets off the bomb as he's leaving. It took a day to find him, and a lot of manpower and tears. Ash filled the air around them as they hauled and heaved. Along the way, they found the bodies of other poor unfortunates. They found an elderly woman who lived. Some hard timber had fallen across her in such a way that it had not crushed her frail form, but rather protected it from further harm. Upon learning the extent of the deaths that day, she cried and cursed the God above, that she, so old, should have lived when others, younger, and with more of the future theirs, had perished. The men who hunted then worked on, and day becoming night, and as they prepared to give up for the rest, so they came upon him. They thought him dead, long dead, but no, a faint pulse and a flicker of closed eyes told them otherwise. Grundy lived, just. And it's a great page. It's got Jack and Ted and some guys in, looks like World War I pit helmets, digging out of the rubble. I guess that's what the firemen. It's a great Tony Harris page, and they're digging. Poor Solomon Grundy. One of the Woodure brothers is there helping. Then we cut to 2 pages or more. Is it more? It's 2 pages of Mark Buckingham art, and this is all set in the hospital with Ted, Michael, and Jack discussing what's going on. That Mr. Pip, hey, he was near the bomb site. He's probably dead, but since there's no body, don't count him out. John Valor, last thing he did was alert Clarence about the bomb, and he's gone. But Jack knows he'll come back because he needs him. And Copperhead just slinked off, and Jack's not worried about a vendetta. He was just hired goon. And Hope Woodure tracking him down. And now he worries about Grundy. And then we had this conversation where they talk about the different Grundys. And Ted says this: "How is he? He is how he's always been, son. Somewhat of a mystery. He's a creature created from the ooze of the swamp, a mixture of vegetable and dead matter. How is he? He's dying. How can we help him? I don't know. He must have heard me talking to him when that day when I came to the hospital. I thought he was unconscious. I told him my misgivings about him, the fact that a past incarnation had murdered Sylvester Pendleton. He must have heard this and vanished, waiting until the time came he could redeem himself in my eyes." And then Jack goes, "Have you seen the reports?" "Yes, the cameraman's caught Grundy's last spoken words. Powerful stuff." Michael replies, "That's what the city wants, to make him a hero. They're desperate for Grundy to survive so they can honor him." And Jack chimes in, "I hate to sound callous, but if Grundy does die, wouldn't it be better, easier? He'll be reborn again anyway." And Ted goes, "You're not thinking of every aspect. Grundy is reborn with a different personality. Each time what he is returns as a mindless savage that fought the Batman or the murderous killer. Or if this Grundy is the one we want, this one is one we save. So what we can do? Hopefully I've already done it." "What?" "Called in some favors," says Ted. "Called in some friends. He was their best, the brightest, but that was spent, years fled. So heroes' light begin to ebb and other heroes came. He was no longer young enough to be the best among them. That changed recently." And now we get the title page, which says, "An Infernal Devices interlude with some help from my friends." And it's Alan Scott in his Sentinel costume. I am not a big fan of giving him a new name. The new costume is okay. It's very Batman-esque because he is a Gotham City hero. I appreciate it. But his other costume there's nothing wrong with it. It's one of those things where I just really don't get it. But we get some more Mark Buckingham. We get a Tony Harris page of him coming down, and then the conversation is with them and Jack meeting him. And then we go to that they've asked another one. It's they need a plan expert, and they're having a conversation. Alan, Jack, and Ted, and it's like he couldn't get it. He couldn't get the right person. So he had Poison Ivy. Nope, she's at large. So Ted goes, "I asked for Woodure, the Floronic Man." If you've read Moore's Swamp Thing, that's one of the best portrayals of him. He's also in Secret Society Supervillains in the 70s. I think he's good in that. He's a good villain. He's really good in this. And he's being escorted. And Ted had to call in a favor, so the escort is Batman. And Jack's a little in awe. But they go in, and the Floronic Man starts to commune with Grundy by touching his head while the heroes watch. And that's all with Buckingham art, which is beautiful. I think, yeah. So that's Buckingham, and then then we get back to Jack and Sentinel flying through Opal City, and of course it's Tony Harris because it's his city, and it's gorgeous. It's just freaking gorgeous. They have a conversation. We get back to the hospital. For one man, these 5 tubers are growing out of his fingers, and each of the 4 heroes get one, but they all take some time to say some goodbyes. And we see Jack with the love of his life. He doesn't know it yet. She is an amazing character, Sadie Falk. They have a conversation. He's telling her what's going on, and as they're walking away, after he's told her it all, it's just a great conversation, and their relationship is so earned. There is conversation. We get to see them have intimate moments that isn't sex and stuff like that. And he's telling her about it. And then he goes, Woodure, Sentinel, and Batman will be coming with me. Woodure grew a tuber for my dad too, but we all feel he's of more use monitor in our bodies. And Sadie asks him, why did the others agree to such a dangerous gig? And he responds, Woodure sees it as a brotherly act. Sentinel has been Grundy's enemy for years. Grundy will be reborn eventually, and this version dies. Sentinel would rather this kinder, gentler Grundy stay alive. And Batman, Chaz? Batman seems so wrapped up in his dark desire persona, takes himself so seriously. He's everything I hate about today, his heroes. But I guess underneath he's a good man. Maybe you misjudged him. Maybe I did. And then he tells Sadie this, and he goes, anyway, I wanted to see you, Sadie, not because I think this is more dangerous than any other crazy stuff, not because I'm scared. Then why? So before I did that, I could do this, and he kisses her. Fucking brilliant. Love it. I want more comics where we had this kind of interpersonal reaction. A lot of more recent comics don't. They're out there. I do like this. I want real characters. I want to believe that they're friends. I want to believe it all. So we cut back to Science Lab, more Mark Buckingham art, and they're going to eat the tubers. Everybody takes a bite, and they all taste something different, which I think is amazing. Alan Scott tastes it, and it's of apples and cinnamon, the fairgrounds, apple pie of his Midwestern childhood. To Jack, it tastes of raspberry essence, the kind he puts in coffee. The taste that shifts on the tongue and becomes a sweetness, Italian dessert wine, rich, noble rot. Floronic Woodrow. We're not going to call him Floronic. I like Woodrow's better anyway. So Woodrow tastes the savory underside of elm bark. Batman tastes nothing at all. Then, as sight and sound and touch flare and snap like tigers, the taste of strange fruit becomes so very small a thing, the world slips and forgets how to walk. And the air goes from cool to tepid, warm, a lizard from wet underbelly, and all that was no more. And then they're in the swamp, and it's Tony Harris again. The Form. This is a weird team up. This is probably one of the weirder team ups I'm going to cover. A modernized JSA'er. The Floronic Man, Jack Knight, and Batman. And the way I get a feel, this is the feel I get from Tony Harris's Batman. It's a mix of Adam West and the first Batman serial costume. That's all I'm saying. Look at them both. If you don't see it, I'm crazy. So they talk. Woodrow lets him know, hey, we must find the Grundy you want to be Grundy. And Alan's going, this place could go on forever. And how can we find him in all this? Begin looking. That's my Batman voice. Begin looking. And Jack goes, no wonder they call you the world's greatest detective. Looking with logic like that. Getting smart, man. He gets smart with Batman right off, and I love it. And then Batman goes, the jokes aren't funny. You want to walk the dark path I take? There's no place for humor. Then Jack goes, geez, chill out. Yes, Bat. And then Sentinel comes in. Yes, Batman, I don't like your tone. And Batman's, I'm not sure I like yours. And then Jack goes off on Batman. And I love this. I forgot all about this. Jack gives Batman his 2 cents. Whoa, hey, you want to be down on me for making fun of you? Fine. But you don't dare talk to this man that way. You may be Mr. Hotshot big name hero now, but nothing you've done makes you worthy of kissing the hem of this man's cape, friend. You may think you're the dark, cool, grim hero. Me, I see another idiot running around in his underwear over his long johns. You're everything I don't want to be. Batman goes, I don't care what you think or do. And then Jack responds, then maybe you should start. And Batman grabs him by his jacket and lifts him up. Or maybe I should knock some sense into you. And then you hear this voice. Money. Grown men come here for Grundy light, and they can't even walk and talk in accord. You haven't got a prayer. If you could work as a team, there are only 4 of you, and that's Grundy. And then there we goes, and there are so many more of us. And there's this wall of Grundys in shadow. It's awesome. It's a great comic. I know I say that I love this run, but this is getting into some heavy duty stuff. What do I like? One, let's talk about. I love Tony Harris art. I love his Batman. It's great. Let's talk about the Mark Buckingham stuff. I think it's really exceptional. I don't know all of Mark Buckingham's work. I know I've seen it, but I really loved his pages a great deal. They were in a specific setting. Once you went outside, it went back to Tony. I like that a great deal. I like the camaraderie and relationship between the three Starmen, Ted, Michael, and Jack. I love that whole thing and the concern for their friend. It's really touching. It was nice to see Alan Scott in a way I like to see him. I don't like I don't mind the costume. This is early 2000s. This is late 90s. It could be worse. It's very Gotham pointy, very Todd McFarlane in a way, and I like that. I think he comes from Gotham. Batman comes from Gotham. It's Gotham of 1997. I get it. I'm good with that. And as I said, I love his Batman. I love his Grundy. And I liked Woodure. I think it looked good. Like I was gushing at time, the Sadie Jack stuff is going to be more and more important to this series. I love her. I've been on a long pause of Will. We're going to go back to Will next week. I'm excited. I want to kind of see how Sadie does under the new writer some more. I've only done a few of his issues. There's just so much going on. I have the promotion. If you listen to the last one, I got my promotion, so there's a little more time. I mean, I'm not recording as often and on schedule, but I'm going to try to knock these out. My wife's out of town, so I'm knocking this out tonight. And this comic is so good, and I had to talk about it after I read it. I read it last night, and I read it again today, and then following through it. It's just so well crafted. And I'm glad I'm back on schedule, and we're going to do a Will next week. If I get time tomorrow night or Thursday, the 18th or 19th, I might do a Legion issue episode where I'm going to cover 199 and 203. But I haven't decided. It depends on what I got to do at work, and I got to manage for crazy animals at the time. But that's coming up, and this weekend, me and Kirby are in talks to talk about something. I'm waiting for his reply. His vacation should be over. I'm not able to go to Baltimore Con as I wanted to because my wife has gone to a funeral, so I'm not going to meet people. I'm really kind of bummed. But I'm glad she's going. She needed to do this, and it was no second thought. But it's going to give me time to get ahead on some recording, so I'm hoping so. So this is one of the best. The book is in its thing. We got stuff coming up. We got 2 more issues of what's going on with Grundy, 2 or 3, and then we've got David back for some stuff. David's going to record with me Friday for an episode, and I'm excited. It's a DC Comics Presents Against Firestorm. I don't know if I love the comic, but I'm going to enjoy talking to David about it. But back to this issue. Yeah, I love everything about this. I love where it's going. This is one of my favorite arcs. I like this Grundy, and I take it this is the same Grundy from Infinity Inc., which I've not read all of. That will change at some point. It's on the app. As I said, I've said a couple times, I've got a new pad. It makes it easier. So I want to read more, but this is great. There's some great stuff coming out. My birthday's in a couple weeks, and I'm going to spend some raised money on some Omni, so there's other stuff coming. But this was a fun one. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. And I'm glad I picked All American Comics 61 as the follow-up issue in this because we need to talk Grundy. So let's talk Grundy. We're going to go to Mike's Amazing World and get the pertinent data on this comic. It's All American Comics number 61. It was approximate on sale date was August 11th, 1944. Cover dated October 1944. That will be 20 years before I'm born. Monthly frequency except for May and November, so it's 9 times a year. Okay, 10 cents. It's a 48-pager. Sheldon Mayer is the editor. This story is called Fighters Never Quit. It stars the Golden Age Green Lantern, Alan Scott, and his sidekick, Dobie Dickles. It also is the first appearance of Solomon Grundy. He'll next appear in Comic Cavalcade 13. The synopsis, the creator is Alfred Bester, great science fiction writer, and Paul Reinman art. Alfred Bester, I've never read any of I've read his Legion of Superhero stuff, and I know a character played by Walter Koenig on Babylon 5 is named after him. It has been reprinted twice in World's Most Dangerous Villains, number 4. Oh, I bet that was in the app. Or DC's Most Wanted, Most Dangerous Supervillains 2020. Synopsis in Mike's Amazing World says, 2 escaped convicts hide in Slaughter Swamp, where 50 years earlier Cyrus Gold was murdered. The convicts are approached by a pale giant who is unaffected by bullets. The next day, the monster arrives in a hobo camp wearing the convicts' prison garb. The hobos name him Solomon Grundy and make him their crime boss. Grundy's mob raids Gotham City until Green Lantern intervenes. Green Lantern's ring is powerless against Grundy, who beats the Emerald Crusader senseless. Still days from his encounter with Grundy, Green Lantern sets off against his foe again, but forgets his power ring, finds Grundy in a rail yard and fights using his fists. Grundy is apparently killed when he falls in front of an oncoming train. GL hypothesizes that Grundy was a form of artificial life created by the swamp plants in the bones of Cyrus Gold, which he's right, and is his origin to today. I found a way to read a digital copy to read of this. It is not highly available. It's a nice photostat copy of it. It is gorgeous art. Paul Reinman's art is amazing. It is very golden age, very 1940s. You know, it's a little rush. I think it is less rush. I think the splash page has, you know, the little origin of Green Lantern. It's hard to read on this copy. And then his logo, which is his name in flames and his lantern, his face. I love it. And then there's this little poem or little caption box. And I'm going to read it. This is the tale of Solomon Grundy. Born on a Monday, got a mob on Tuesday, robbed on Wednesday, looted on Thursday, murdered on Friday, trapped on Saturday, and Sunday, question mark, question mark. Sounds like a funny story, doesn't it? Well, it isn't. Not when the Green Lantern meets the only man invulnerable to the power ring. This is a story of grit and unparalleled courage of the Crusaders battered and bruised to exhaustion by an unearthly and brutal monster, but then spurred themselves to the breaking point to prove that fighters never quit. Hence the title, which is about, it's less about this new cool character they've invented, Solomon Grundy, and more about the fact that he's got to fight powerless. And he used fisticuff and brawn. It's a great little story. I mean, Green Lantern doesn't even show up. He shows up as Alan Scott on in the 3rd page of the story. Battles for a couple pages, which are good. I mean, his light doesn't work, and Grundy knocks him out. And then we get to see him do his thing in Brightest Day and Darkest Night, which is the same one Hal says. I love Dobie Dickles. He gets beaten. And when he's dazed, he's really dazed. He's speaking gibberish. His ring, he can't find his ring. I don't know how he finds his ring. I guess Dobie's got it. But they fight, and then he dies. And it's a really neat story. And we see, you know, we kind of have a flashback where he's discussing how Grundy's born and how every other Grundy will be born. It's a nice little story and a lot of fun. I think it's one of the better. It's amazing. Bravo to all involved. And I love Solomon Grundy. I love almost every version of him. I think I first knew him in either the Doc Fate Hour Man team up or a Green Lantern team up in Brave and the Bold, the Fox Murphy Anderson stuff, or Justice League JLA team up. He's used a lot in the cartoons, and he's used different ways, and I like it. He's been used recently in Jeff Johns' JSA, and have him like he could be a future member. Sorry, my pad started to play the theme music to, or the trailer to Stalag 13. Sorry, but I'm not going to edit because I'm going to just kind of wrap this up. But it's a great little story, and I do like how Grundy is used in other medium. He's been used very well. I like him. I've really loved him in I really love him in this Starman, and we'll talk about. You'll hear me gab about that more over the next couple of issues. All right, folks, that's it. This is 25 minutes in. It's time for me to say goodbye, but it's also time for me to say thank you for listening. Thanks for Dave and Pete for having me on Earth 2. Thanks for Billy having me on shows. Thanks to all my guests at Gallifrey's Most Wanted. I've had new guests, and it's been fun meeting new people and talking to you as Gallifrey's Most Wanted changes. This podcast, I want to do more. I have big plans. Not big, giant, like super successful plans, but big plans about stuff I want to write it, what I want to talk about. So I'm rereading Mark Alexandro, Manhunter, which is another legacy title in the early 2000s, just spot on. And I think some other of that stuff's coming. There's some great stuff coming out that I really want to read in reprints. Godzilla's coming out first week October. I just ordered my Micronauts Volume 2. Once I have all three, I will probably do a Micronauts run of some sort. So a lot of stuff coming on. More team-up books. I'm going to do more of those. I'm going to do something Halloween-y. We'll see. That's my 60th birthday week. And more Jack, more Will Patton. I've got some other Starman stuff. I've got to find some more Opal City Media stuff that I want to do. And I think I found it. I think it's not 100% tangential, but it's a book. It's definitely something Jack would like. And I'm going to phrase my review and chat about it in that way. And I hope you like it. I'm going to try to I want to do some Astro City stuff. So if people are listening, you into Astro City, I would love to hear other people who love that book and want to come and maybe talk about it. But folks, as always, hey, thank you. Be safe, be smart, please be kind to one another. We are in an election cycle. I know where I stand. You have got to know where I stand if you listen to me gab on all my podcasts. I just want everybody to go out and vote who they want to vote for and accept the results. I would like us to I just want to turn a page in a bad book very soon. Comics are keeping my mental health good. So, as always, folks, thank you for listening. Be safe, be smart, be kind to one another, and read some comics. Read some legacy heroes and tell me who you like.